Hi, I'm Kai from rolloverplaydead.com, a blog about tabletop role-playing games. I write articles, reviews, and reports from the Malaysian role-playing scene. Today, I want to talk about Night Witches, a game by Jason Morningstar. Now, Night Witches isn't about black magic, or the Salem witch trials, or Harry Potter. Night Witches is about women at war, specifically the Soviet airwomen who dropped bombs on Nazis in World War II. In 1941, after Germany invaded the Soviet Union, the communists were desperate for manpower, and so the women of the Soviet Union went to war in the millions, in supply lines, at factories, and on the front lines. The famous Soviet flyer, Maria Roskova, convinced Joseph Stalin to form the 588th Night Bomber Regiment, a unit composed entirely of women mechanics, women officers, women pilots. They flew rickety PO-2 biplanes, basically crop dusters, and they bombed the Germans at night because their planes were too slow to make it during the daytime without being shot down. Because their planes were noisy, they were called flying typewriters, they had to turn off their engines just before they reached their targets and glide in, drop their bombs, then after the Germans had been alerted, turn on their engines and fly out, avoiding anti-aircraft fire. It was quite a dangerous job, and by the end of the war, the Night Witches had achieved more decorations and awards than any other regiment in the Soviet Air Force. Now, this game allows you to step into the boots of the 588th Night Bomber Regiment. Night Witches is a powered by the Apocalypse role-playing game, which means that it doesn't use miniatures like Dungeons and Dragons or miniature war games. These are for show, by the way. You play through the theater of the mind with a game master and players all contributing to an ongoing conversation about what's happening in the story, creating the fiction, and each of them injecting their imagination into what happens. And because it's Apocalypse World, the rules are called moves, and whenever something dramatic is happening, you might have to roll the dice to see if your character succeeds or fails in an action, like trying to crash a damaged plane intact, or getting out of an argument with an officer, or trying to steal some supplies from a neighboring camp. You roll the dice, and if it's low, you might get a failure. If it's medium, you might get a partial success. If it's really high, you'll get a success. Whatever happens, there'll be interesting dramatic results, and depending on each move, there are suggestions on what kind of outcomes, what kind of decisions your character might have to make, and these are usually based on the kind of story tropes that Apocalypse World systems are known for. In this case, the tropes of the classic war story. You'll be playing characters, and you'll be recording your information on these character sheets, called the playbooks. They will contain your character's statistics, special moves that only you can do, and what kind of a role you've established in the regiment. You might be a leader, you might be a protector, like a den mother, or you might be a zealot. And as the game goes on, you can decide to evolve your character and change from one role to another. In addition, you'll keep track of your service record, the medals and honors that you've earned, and marks, which are kind of landmarks in your career, experiences that shape you as a soldier, such as watching a close colleague die, or opening up to someone about what your life was like back home before you joined the war, and so on. Lastly, you won't just be playing as an individual. You'll be playing as part of a team. So there's a record sheet for your whole squadron, all the pilots, all the players in the group, and because each plane needs 2 crew, you'll be teamed up with someone else, and every pair of players will have to cooperate to get the mission done. The game has a historical campaign listing 33 missions based on the actual events, where you go from 1942 to the end of the war. There will be geographical locations in these handouts that tell you what missions were available in each area and what kind of special challenges might occur. Undersupplied, or whether you have rival regiments. In addition to the nighttime missions, there's also daytime activities. When you get back to base and rest, you'll have to repair your plane. Sometimes you'll have to scrounge for supplies, or avoid interrogation by the political officers, because one step out of place could get you into a lot of trouble back then in the Soviet Union. You could end up in the Gulag or worse. And because the Night Witches were resented for being women, they often faced sexism from other male regiments. Night Witches is a great game for new role players, but the truth is, a lot of the role-playing games that have come out in the last few years are really good for newcomers, and if you are new to role-playing, I encourage you to try one of these new games out. You can look at roleoverplaydead.com and check out the lists and links to find other role players in Malaysia, such as myself. You can look at the social media groups and the links to stores and venues where these games are held. Just go and chat up any game master, any group that's looking for players, and don't worry, we won't bite. You can definitely try it out even if it's your first time. Lastly, I want to thank you for watching this video, and I want you to keep tuned for more exciting content from roleoverplaydead.com. This is Kai, signing off.